In some traditions, people talk more about preservation rather than perseverance. What's the difference between preservation and perseverance? Are these two concepts, are they at odds with each other? And how is it that the lesson focuses more on perseverance rather than preservation?
Well, I think Wes, that we tried to be true in the lesson to Paul's own emphasis, which I think is on perseverance. But there were plenty of notes about the other side of that, which is preservation. Perseverance is this relationship from our side, the need to press on, and as we said in the lesson, the need to believe the truth and to live rightly. But there are notes in Philippians, and we tried to be true to them, that are on the preservation side, which is that's what God does behind the scenes to keep us. In Philippians 1:6, Paul says, as we pointed out in the lesson, persuaded of this, that the one who began among you, in you, a good work, will complete it to the day of Christ Jesus. The whole Paul doesn't get around to talking to us about our duty to persevere without first letting us know his own confidence in the fact that the one who began this thing in us is he's not just sitting back saying, well, I'm going to look and see what happens to Wes. Good luck. But he is at work in us. And then at the very time where Paul says the thing that most stresses our need to persevere, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, he recalls this note that the one who began, the same one who began a good work in us, he is at work in us, both to will and to work according to his good pleasure. So it's a both and. I mean, we're kidding ourselves if we think that we can persevere without his preserving power. And at the same time, Paul does seem to be, and I think largely it's because of the relationship that he has with these folks, that he feels so free to talk with them about the privilege as well as the responsibility of a persevering faith, of believing the right thing, and then living it out in such a way that our life becomes more and more characterized by the one who's taken up residence within us.
So if these two things are not at odds with one another, then it's probably true that depending on, say, where we are in life or maybe somebody that we're talking to in life, we can use either one or the other as good biblical encouragement.
Well, yeah, Graham, it takes a great deal of discernment to figure out whether the person that you're talking to needs more the softer. He really loves you, and he's got a hold of you, and he's not going to let go. Or when the person that you're talking to, whether you can just see that they're just kind of sitting there, and they need to be challenged to, get up, walk, rise. Just like Jesus in John 5, where he comes to the guy who's been at the pool there in Jerusalem for 38 years, and he's just given up on ever getting healed. And Jesus comes up to him and says, "Do you want to be healed?" And sometimes that's our job, is to say, "Do you really like it there?" And when I was in college, I played baseball, and I was not a very good hitter. I didn't have a very strong arm, but I could work with pitchers, and I could block balls that were thrown in the dirt. And a good catcher gets to know his pitchers, and some pitchers need to be encouraged. No matter how badly they're doing, they need to be told, "You're doing great. You got it in you. Just keep going." And other pitchers, they're just their brain is somewhere else, and you just need to say, "Hey, we get with the program," and it's wise pastoral discernment. It's pastoring that It's that is determined to get to know people and know in a particular moment which side of the equation they need to hear. God is going to preserve you. Don't let go, because he's not going to let go of you. Or when you need to say, dude, you need to ratchet it up. And you know that, don't you? It's time to stress the perseverance.